Peace be with you, dear brothers and sisters in the Lord. I'm Father Hayden Williams, a Capuchin friar minor from Malta, living at the Franciscan Hermitage of La Cella di Cortona in Italy, but at the moment I'm recording the Words of Wisdom series from Phoenix Park, Dublin, Ireland. Our episodes are called Revive because Jesus wants to revive us. He came to give us life and He wants us to live it to the full. You know what is one of the things that can hinder us and stop us and keep us and sometimes paralyze us from living our life to the full? I think that one of the things is when we're hurt. When we're hurt, it's very easy for us to become paralyzed. And we are locked and wounded and we are stopped there. Sometimes when somebody is hurt, his life stops there. I'm sure that all of us, in one way or another, we have been hurt by somebody and we have hurt someone else, because life is like that. Now, who hurts you in life? I think that we are greatly hurt by those whom we trust. People who we trust most, they can hurt us most. And that's why much of the hurts we have are in our intimate relationships, in the family and friends, sometimes also within the Christian community. You know, those who hurt you could be people who are jealous of you. Sometimes where there is jealousy, jealousy will lead to great hurts. People in authority, persons in authority, because they have power over you, if they misuse, if they abuse of their power, they can hurt you. Persons whom you have helped can hurt you. You might have helped somebody, and then it's as if he doesn't know you anymore in your life, and he hurts you. Sometimes it is you who hurt yourself. How much I have met people across the globe who have hurt themselves in one way or another. But why do we hurt each other in life? I mean, is this a normal thing to do for us as human beings? Why do we do it? You know, first of all, we do it because we are sinners. We have a sinful nature within us. Sometimes you can hurt somebody even without knowing that you are hurting him, because we are limited human beings. I just cannot know everything about you. I just cannot know whatever you're going through. I might say something even right now with which I will hurt you, but innocently. Yes, that can happen. You know, sometimes we hurt each other because we are hurt, and we transfer our hurts upon each other. Because in life, whatever is not healed, whatever is not transformed, it is transmitted to the others. It's like when you have a virus. If it's not healed within you, you will transmit that virus to somebody else. Sometimes we can also hurt each other because we could be psychologically conditioned. We could have some disorders that, you know, they can condition us in our words, thoughts, and actions to hurt others. Sometimes the evil one, the devil, tries and uses us in order to hurt each other. Now, and we get hurt because we are human beings. I mean, it's only normal, it's only natural that you can get hurt. And there are some areas that some of us can be wounded in specific ways. For example, some of us can have a broken identity. Somebody must have hurt you in your life, and some way or another, he might have broken your identity. For example, you might have a broken self-image, lack of dignity. You might feel worthless. You might be given the message that you are not worthy. You might feel that you have a broken image because in your family you weren't always accepted, or your family was not always socially accepted, or because you were hurt in your family, for example, through a family divorce, through a separation, through domestic violence. You might feel hurt and have a broken image because in society you've been put into its fringes because of your faith, because of your values, because of your culture, because of your sexual orientation. You might feel you have a broken destiny. Your future is hurt. Why? Because of wrong decisions you have made in the past. That's one of the ways how we hurt ourselves. Because of past failures, because you missed opportunities, and you feel continuously that now your future is being hurt. You might have a broken fulfillment in your life. Even as a Christian in the church, when you see scandal within the church, you might feel hurt by the church itself, hurt by the ministers of the church. You might also feel broken because they make you feel that you are not relevant, you are not appreciated for what you do, that your ideas are always put aside, and you end up feeling lonely, even perhaps within your marriage, within your family. Now, these are all areas where all of us could be hurt in one way or another. Now, but we're not here to do a diagnosis upon a dead man. Jesus wants to revive us. He wants us alive. But in order to be healed, Jesus wants to ask us one simple question. Do you want to be healed? Now, don't think that that's a stupid question. That's a question that Jesus asked to a sick man in the Gospel of John. He told somebody at Bethesda, do you want to be healed? Don't you think sometimes it's obvious that we want to be healed? I don't think that it's obvious at all. Some of us might deny that we are hurt. We just deny it. You just want to live as if things haven't happened. You just don't want to face facts. You just don't want anymore to face your hurts in your life. You can die with them. So it's not obvious that you want to be healed. Others think that healing is automatic. With the passing on of time, yes, I will forgive. It's not true. Sometimes with the passing on of time, the wounds become even deeper. If you don't address them, they will kill you. Do you want to be healed? But some people want to be stuck. You want to remain there where you are. Sometimes, do you want to be healed? Sometimes you find alternatives to your pain in your life. Some people transform their pain into an addiction. Some people transform their pain into self-harm. Sometimes I have met young people doing a lot of self-harm. And one girl once explained to me why she was doing the self-harm. She told me, Father Hayden, the physical pain I feel when I cut myself is greater the emotional pain I feel when I'm hurt. So I prefer the physical pain that will supersede and will heal my psychological pain. So you see, it's not always obvious that we really want to be healed. And Jesus asks us, do you want to be healed? And He's asking you this now today. Now, if you want to be healed when you're hurt, there's only one way forward, which is forgiveness. Forgiveness, it is the way to healing. You don't have to wait to be healed in order to forgive. You need to forgive in order to be healed. Sometimes, however, we have some blockages that hinder us from forgiving each other in our lives. For example, some might say, it is impossible for me to forgive. Now, you say that because you focus on your pain and you don't focus on God who gives you the strength and the power to forgive. Yes, humanly speaking, in some situations it could be impossible to forgive, but remember, with God there are two different words. Difficult, yes. Impossible, no. A difficulty is not an impossibility, and nothing is impossible with God. Even when it seems very difficult for you to forgive, it's not impossible for God to give you the grace that you will forgive. Some don't want to forgive because they don't want to remember their past. It is true. When you go through a process of forgiveness, you will have to remember what happens. But you've got an option. You either hide your past and one day it will surface and destroy you, or else, in a good process, you choose to face your past in order to forgive. Sometimes we condition our forgiveness because we say, I am ready to forgive if the other person asks me forgiveness. Now, when you do that, it means that you are depending completely on the other. That you decided to condition your healing on the other person. If he asks you forgiveness, you will give it. If not, you won't give it. But are you going to depend on the other one? Are you going to remain like this? You will never be free because you decided to be conditioned? Well, don't do that. Jesus is asking you, do you want to be healed? Be free. Accept to forgive. Now, what is forgiveness? Forgiveness is not forgetting what has happened. We only forget if we get sick with dementia. Forgiveness is not excusing the other person. I mean, if you've been hurt, full stop. It's usually excusing the other. Forgiveness is not an emotion. It's a decision. You don't feel you have to forgive. As a Christian, you decide to forgive. Jesus on the cross made a decision. He decided to forgive us. Forgiveness is not something instant that happens like that. Forgiveness, it's a process that we go through. So courage, brothers and sisters in the Lord. Forgiveness, it's not something that you do in your own strength. As a Christian, forgiveness is something that you do with Christ's strength in your life. What do you get out of forgiveness? Some people decide to forgive so that the other one changes. Well, that's a wrong motivation. When you forgive, it's not a guarantee that the other one is going to accept what he did and that the other one will change. When you forgive, the greatest fruit you can receive out of forgiveness is peace in your heart, peace in your mind. And this is something that we truly need. When you don't forgive in life, you will never have peace of mind and peace of heart. I would like to share with you a very simple process, a Christian process, how to forgive. First, step for forgiveness. Remember how much Jesus has forgiven you. As Christians, forgiveness is a gift that we need to receive so that it becomes a gift then that we give to others. And we also always have to start by receiving it from Jesus himself. Remember how much the Lord has forgiven you, and he has forgiven you unlimitedly in your life. You can only give the forgiveness that you have received from Christ. Second, find a moment in the life of Jesus. Identify with him. A moment which is very similar to your heart. You know, there is no pain you've went through. There is no pain you're going through. There is no pain you will go through that Jesus did not go through himself. Every physical, spiritual, emotional pain, every hurt in your life, every hurt in every person's life, somehow, in one way or another, Jesus went through it. So if you feel you've been rejected, you've been lied, you've been denied, you've been betrayed, just find that rejection, denial, betrayal in the life of Jesus and identify yourself with Jesus in that moment. Third stage, give your pain, your wound to Jesus. Give it to him. Surrender it completely to him. Don't keep it for yourself. Tell him, Lord, I surrender this pain to you into your own pain. You know what it means. You've went to it through yourself. I surrender it to you. And then fourth step, do an exchange with the Lord. As you surrender your pain to him, ask him that he will give you his healing, his forgiveness for the other person in that moment. In that dialogue with the Lord, sometimes you can tell him, Lord, I just don't want to forgive. Jesus can take that. Give me your power. Give me your own strength to forgive. I just don't want to give you this pain. I just want to give this pain to the other person who has hurt me. But Lord, give me your strength that I will surrender it to you so that I can receive your own healing, your inner healing, the healing of my wounds and my heart. Fifth stage, once you have received Christ's inner healing, you need to forgive yourself. Forgive myself? I've been healed. What do I have to forgive myself for? You know, sometimes when you think right in the right way, you realize that you need to forgive yourself. For what? For example, because it has taken so much time for you to forgive the other person. You've just wasted a lot of time, a lot of energy in your life. You remained in anger and lack of peace because you didn't forgive before. The moment you forgive, you realize how much time you have lost in unforgiveness was a waste of energy, and you need to forgive yourself about that. Sometimes when you forgive the other person, you can see clearer in your life, and you might realize that there were situations where you yourself might have contributed for what the other persons did to you. You know, when we forgive, we see clearer in our life. Then, a sixth stage, a sixth step I would suggest to you is that you transform the hurt into an act of love. How? By blessing the other person that has hurt you, by praying for the other person, by offering a rosary for the other person, by praying a psalm for the person who has hurt you, by offering the Mass, the Eucharist, for the person who has hurt you. And if it is possible, also to attempt reconciliation with the other person. Now, I know that this is not always possible, that we can reconcile ourselves. Sometimes, for example, if there is an abusive person, you need to protect yourself from that person. Forgiveness and protection are not mutually exclusive. Sometimes after we forgive, we can reconcile with the other person. Sometimes after that we forgive, we need to keep a healthy distance from the other person, especially if the other person is an abusive person. It doesn't mean you haven't forgiven the other. It just means you need to protect yourself a little bit from the other. Don't think that protecting yourself from someone, it's unchristian. You know, when the angel appeared to Joseph and Herod wanted to kill Jesus, what does the angel tell Joseph? He tells him, pack up and go to Egypt. And that's what Joseph did. He took Mary and baby Jesus to Egypt. He protected him from Herod. Sometimes the Lord asks us to protect ourselves from those who deeply hurt us, especially if they are abusive persons, because abusive persons have the tendency that they don't realize how much they hurt others, how much they victimize others. The Lord doesn't call you to remain a perpetual victim if you've been victimized. He also asks you, after that you forgive, that you protect yourself. Protecting yourself, it's not unchristian. Look what the angel told Joseph and what Joseph did with Mary and Jesus. Then the final thing, a seventh stage that I would suggest to you, is that you act as a healed person. Once you have forgiven somebody, once you have gained peace, act as a healed person. What does that mean? It means testify to the grace of healing from your hurt that you have received. It means encourage others. It means lead a lifestyle as a healed person. Don't live anymore in fear. Start to praise God for the grace He has given you. Be a testimony of what God can do, of the healing power of Jesus, how much He can heal us emotionally, even when we are hurt. Acting as a healed person means that you become a man and a woman of hope, that you can generate hope in others so that others can also be revived in their life and don't die in their emotional pain. What a pity if somebody dies in his emotional pain when we know Jesus who can really heal us from our pain. Now, having said all that, these are 7 stages, which it needn't be just literally one after the other. There are 7 dynamics how we can enter into a process of inner healing and receiving the healing grace of Jesus and living as healed people. Having said that, I realize that sometimes, even though we've forgiven others, some scars in life will remain. And to inspire you with this, I would like to invite you to look at the stigmata of our Lord Jesus Christ. You know, Jesus had the stigmata during the Passion. He had the stigmata on the cross when He died, and the stigmata when He resurrected. So He had them during His death, when He died, and after He resurrected. The stigmata remained there. What changed? He changed. The scars always remained. The scars were there as a dying man, as a dead man, and as a resurrected man. There are some scars in our life, even though we go through a process of forgiveness, that might remain there. But if you change, they are not the scars on a dying man. They are not the scars on a dead man. They can be the scars on a resurrected man, on a revived man. So I really would like to encourage you, because I've met a good number of people who, after they have forgiven and they've done all their utmost in their life, some pain, especially when there is abuse, like for example sexual abuse, domestic abuse, or any kind of other abuse, some pain would still remain there, lingering in their life. Don't condemn yourself. It doesn't mean you haven't forgiven. It means that now you can unite your pain also with Christ crucified, and your pain will be transformed into a sign of God's love. because you remember how much He has suffered for you, how much He wants you united with Him, and how much that pain, if united with Him, it's not lost. That pain is redeemed. That pain can become a grace. So courage, brothers and sisters. You know, pain, hurting each other, I'd say unfortunately, it's part of life. All of us will hurt somebody one day or another. All of us will get hurt someday or another. Sometimes even in the closest relationships that we have, in our own family, in our church, in our Christian community, in our religious community, priests among ourselves, we can be hurt by anybody and we can hurt everybody. But emotional pain, it's not the last word in our life. Jesus wants to heal us. Jesus wants to revive us. But I humbly ask you, open your heart to Christ's healing grace. Be ready to forgive, not in your own strength, but in the power of the Holy Spirit. If you find it difficult and you're struggling a lot to forgive, and you've tried everything, and as if nothing is happening, I suggest that you would do what a woman I met once did. She needed to forgive her husband after that he left her. She had a lot of emotional pain. And you know what she did? She went to counseling, therapy. Nothing really helped her. She just went in front of Jesus in the Eucharist. She spent a lot of time in Eucharistic adoration until she felt the Lord has given her the grace to really forgive her husband. Go to Jesus. Ask Him, Lord, I cannot forgive, but You can forgive in me and through me. Thank you for watching this episode, and I'm sure that it will be of great help, not just to you, but also to others. If you know somebody that needs to hear this talk, just share this episode with him and be ready for the next one, because it's going to help you even more. God bless you all.
You can't always.
This is the death
Remarkably empty.
Turn back towards God. Rise up.